At the current moment, there are a lot of eyes on the Zionist character of the Israeli government. This video will attempt to explain the right-wing Zionism which is currently governing in Israel. The Likud party, it has been for long the most influential party in Israel, but it has some very controversial origins which explain its current policy positions and brings attention to its extremist character. The Irgun were an early Israeli terror group. In 1946, they carried out what remains up until today as the most devastating attack on British personnel. They killed 91 people. And they were explicitly a Zionist organization who employed violence in order to establish the Israeli state. In 1948, Menachem Begin would establish the Herot Party with members of this very terror group, the Irgun. And in 1977, he would go on to become the president of Israel following the electoral victory of the Likud party. The Herot joined a number of right-wing parties in order to establish the Likud. From the moment this party took control, the settlers in Israel have increased and increased, reaching 430,000 in 2018. And as you can imagine, the increase in settlers has been a large obstacle to any kind of two-state solution, as it prevents there being a continuous Palestinian land. This increase in settlements is a big grievance of the Palestinian people, and it is actually illegal under international law. Many Palestinians are removed from their homes in order to make these very settlements.
Yaakov, you know this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
But
It's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
You are stealing my house.
And today, according to the UN, there are 700,000 settlers in the West Bank and occupied East Jerusalem. The increase in the construction of settlements, though, reflects the Zionist urge to expand its borders for the purposes of a larger ethno-state. Having been in power for much of the period since 1977, the current leader of the Likud party is, as you can imagine, Benjamin Netanyahu. The string of Zionism, though, is considered relatively moderate when considering some other elements in the current right-wing coalition. Current Minister of National Security, Ben-Gvir, leads a further right party called Otzma Yehudit, Hebrew for Jewish power. He was a member of the anti-Arab Cash movement as a youth growing up. That movement was represented in the Israeli Senate by Meir Kahan, a Brooklyn rabbi who moved to Israel in 1971. And he served only a single term in the Israeli Knesset before the Cash were banned for being racist and undemocratic. Kahan argued that the idea of a democratic Jewish state is nonsense. In his view, and he was not alone, demographic trends would lead ineluctably to a non-Jewish majority. To Kahan, Arabs were dogs who must sit quietly or get the hell out. In 2015, we saw a Palestinian home in the West Bank village of Duma. It was attacked by a group of extremist Israeli settlers. They arson attacked the house, killing 18-month-old Ali Saad Dawabsha and sending the rest of his family to hospital. Many people may find this shocking. Ben-Gvir was filmed partying and celebrating with Israeli settlers whilst they burnt and stabbed pictures of the 18-month-old child who was killed. But to be honest with you, this is hardly surprising for Gvir, who for a long time had hung up a picture of Baruch Goldstein, an extremist settler who had gunned down 29 Muslims at the Cave of the Patriarchs. And guess what? He only agreed to take this photo down 3 years ago in order to make it into the Israeli parliament. It is important and of crucial nature to know that this is the type of ideology. People with such ideologies have somehow found their way into the Israeli cabinet. And what does this mean for Israeli policy? Is this liberal? Is this democratic? And after October the 7th, Gvir called for not just the elimination of Hamas, but for the elimination of anyone who sings, supports, or even hands out candy. They are all terrorists. People should realize that this is how loosely Gvir is willing to use the word terrorist when he recommends the death penalty for terrorists taken in Israeli jails. For allegedly mocking abductees, Ben-Gvir proudly posted on his social media how the IDF was sent out to destroy a Palestinian woman's business. She was then forced to take an image in front of an Israeli flag. And this is seeming to become a habit of Gvir, torturing by the Israeli flag. A lot of the Western discourse on the subject seems to be centered on Israel's right to defend itself. That discourse, though, does not seem to take very seriously the kind of people that we have sitting in the Israeli Knesset, making statements that are abhorrent about human beings. For such people, the objective seems to be maintaining and expanding an ethno-state at the expense of Palestinians, who people such as Kahan have called dogs. And if they can't keep quiet, they should get the hell out.